Good morning, Traumateers. It is Saturday, and that means it's time for another edition of SegueMagic. And today we are talking about our favorite and least favorite fathers, because at least here in America, tomorrow is Father's Day. So I hope all of you got your gifts and your cards. I know I did. Okay, well, I got my gift. I haven't gotten the card yet. We're working on it. I feel like in other videos we've already talked about our least favorite parents. I feel like all the dads I would talk about for my least favorite dads would already have been mentioned in a previous video, so I don't really want to rehash that. So today I'm just going to focus on my favorite fictional fathers. And so one of the first fathers that I thought of, and I think it's because I just finished reading this book, but it is Atticus Finch from To Kill a Mockingbird. Atticus is kind of the best dad ever. Like, he's one of the best humans ever, and I kind of want to be like Atticus when I'm a legit grown-up, because he's freaking awesome. He's so compassionate. He's so understanding of his kids. He respects their opinions, and he listens to them, and yet he still, like, guides them, because I feel like so many times when we talk about parenting and being supportive, it means I'm just going to let my children do whatever they want, which isn't good. But here he has that great way of respecting their opinions, listening to what they have to say, and not being like, you have to do this or I'm gonna hate you forever, but still guiding them in the right way to go and how to be compassionate, caring people. I know I mentioned these dads in a previous video, but I just have to mention them again, and they are the dads from Lola and the Boy Next Door. I mean, honestly, I think they were my favorite characters in this book. They are fantastic adoptive dads for Lola. They really take care of her and look out for her, and so many times she drove me nuts because she was not listening to her dads, and they were just trying to do what was best for her, and she was just kind of, being a typical teenage girl. But they're awesome, and they were other parents where I look at them and I'm like, I want to be like that someday, because of just how compassionate they are and how caring they are, and how sometimes you have to make a decision that your kid is not always going to understand, but it's still the right thing to do, and they just really did a good job of that in this book. And then, of course, we have to mention Arthur Weasley from the Harry Potter series, because we mentioned Molly Weasley with Moms, who is fantastic, and of course Arthur is going to be another awesome, awesome dad. He balances Molly Weasley really, really well. They're a great couple. They work well together, and he really cares about those kids, and Harry and Hermione and all of his kids, and basically, let's just all be part of the Weasley family. Continuing on with books, I also really love Mr. Bennet from Pride and Prejudice. Like, he's awesome. He's another one who really balances out the mother really well, because she's so kind of like high-strung and stuff, and he kind of just has this sense of humor about it, like he loves her for it, and he kind of just like balances the family out with all of these girls running around, and he kind of just like level-headed and funny and takes it all with grace and sense of humor, and I just love Mr. Bennet. He's such a great dad. And then I do have to give a shout out to the dad in The Fault in Our Stars. I know the story focuses a little bit more on her relationship with her mom, and I talked about her mom in my video about great mothers, but I just felt like we do have to mention that the dad in The Fault in Our Stars is a really great dad. He really cares about his daughter, and just like, he's really awesome, and you just have to, your heart just goes out to him. As for movies, I love the dad in About Time. This is one of my favorite movies, so I feel like I talk about it a lot. But the dad in this movie really is great. I love his sense of humor. I love the relationship he has with his son and how they talk and the advice that he gives him. And it's really, really good and really interesting. And I can't go a whole lot into the relationship because then there'll be spoilers for the movie. But let's just say his dad's pretty freaking great. Then, of course, some of the best parental figures on television ever are from Boy Meets World. I mean, the 90s had some great dads. Great dads. I mean, I know, Mari, she mentioned Full House. They're awesome dads. But I'm partial to the Boy Meets World guys. I mean, you got your Alan Matthews, who is the official dad. And he's great. He takes care of Corey, he takes care of Eric, and their sister Morgan. But then he later adopts Sean, and he welcomes Topanga into the family with open arms when Corey and Topanga want to get married way too young. He does a great job taking care of the family, but also having fun with his kid, and going through all these different things in life, but also, he quits his job, and then he gets another job and owns this great store for his kids, and just all the different dynamics he has with his kids is awesome. But then you also got your Mr. Turner, who takes care of Sean for a whole year while his dad's off being crazy and doing something. And that's pretty freaking awesome. So officially, Mr. Turner isn't the dad, but he's definitely a big parental figure in a few years in the Boy Meets World series, and he's really, really great. And of course, you got Mr. Feeney. Again, not officially a father, but he's kind of a father figure for all of these characters, and who doesn't want a Mr. Feeney in their life? I mean, we all want a Mr. Feeney. I mean, I don't think you're ever going to walk up to someone on the street and say, hey, do you hate Mr. Feeney? And they're like, yeah, Mr. Feeney was a jerk. No one's going to say that because Mr. Feeney is the best human ever. One of the best humans ever, at least. And we all need one of him in our lives. Maybe someday we'll talk about great teachers for SnarkSquad. So there's a great topic for a SegueMagic Saturday. And yeah, Mr. Feeney, you're awesome. And also, can we just say, it's really amusing that Sean needs like 4 father figures in his life to help keep him in line. Like, I feel like by the end of the series, the writers were just like, we need more plot points. Let's just mess up Sean Hunter's life more. And yeah, he needs all these father figures to help him out because his life just sucks. And last but certainly not least, and I just have to say, Bert Hummel from Glee. One of the best dads ever. I mean, I love his story. Like, when we first meet Kurt and his dad, Bert, and I love that their names are Kurt and Bert, by the way. And they're not super close. Like, Kurt's mom died years ago, and he's never really been close to his dad. But then there's the episode when Kurt comes out to his dad. And it is so awesome. It's like the way his dad just, like, accepts him and loves him. And in the early, like, season or two, Bert really has a hard time. He's not really sure how to cope with his son, even though he has always known his son was gay. But all of the bullying that Kurt goes through, his dad doesn't know how to handle it. He doesn't know how to talk to Kurt about relationships, and he's really unsure of himself. But then as the series goes on, you just see how more and more accepting he becomes and how more caring he becomes. And because you know throughout the entire series, even though they aren't close at first, he's always cared about Kurt and wanted to do the best thing for Kurt, but wasn't sure how to do it. And so it's really, really awesome, and how this relationship between father and son grows throughout the series, and by the end, they are so ridiculously close. And his dad is like the best dad ever, and it's one of my favorite father-son relationships ever. And then, you know, he adopts Finn, and it's really awesome, and he's just like this great father figure for all the Glee Club kids. I mean, okay, I know Mr. Shu is kind of like the overall parental figure in the Glee series, but Bert Hummel, best dad in Glee ever. One of my favorite TV dads of all time. He's so fantastic. So those are my favorite fictional fathers. I want to hear about yours. Be sure to put hashtag SegueMagic in your videos so that everyone can watch them. And I love your faces. I will see you later. Bye!